Hi and welcome back. In this video I want to talk about what happened to me last week at the end of week number 10 in my long run. That was almost a turning point in my journey to my first marathon. So I want to talk to you about the struggle, but also what I've learned and how things have changed for good. Let's start. Welcome back if you're not new to the channel, and welcome if you're the first time here. As you can see, there's a slightly different background today. This is because I'm traveling, so this is my hotel room for the day. Last week was my 10th week of the training plan. If you saw my month 1 and month 2 review, you know already that in the past few weeks I have been struggling. It's been quite difficult to keep up with the workload, the increase of fatigue, the body fatigue, the accumulation of kilometers that I ran, and at least between week 8 and week 10 I was actually questioning myself if I would be able to run a full marathon. Now, last week, throughout the week, I was struggling. My legs were tired. It was a bit of a back and forward between feeling good and feeling really, really bad. Now, Saturday comes, is a long run day. I was supposed to do 14 miles. So I say to myself, okay, let's change attitude towards the long run. What I've done so far was always try to beat myself, be faster, be better, run for longer, improve every single aspect of my run. And that led me to 2 weeks ago to have not a disaster run, but a very challenging long run. So this week I changed completely mindset. My new mindset is a long run, perfect. It's not right now the moment to focus on speed. I never run a marathon, so it's not a moment for me to refine the timing, the speed, the duration of my race, because I never race. I have nothing to compare with. So the first goal is actually to finish the race. With that in mind, I started to run. Since the very beginning, I felt a completely change in my mindset. First of all, for the very first time, I ran with no music at all. I had a podcast. Sometimes I have a podcast and some music in the background. This time, I only had a podcast. I started listening to it, and I could feel that my body wasn't spending all the energies. And it was a very good feeling. I felt that I was going in with a consistent pace and without too much effort at all. So I ran. The full run was supposed to be 22 kilometers, roughly 22.5, I think is the conversion. At kilometers 10, 11, I was like, okay, fine, it's almost time to go back. Actually, because of the mistake of how I set up the workout, I haven't been flagged the halfway point. So at kilometers 12, I was like, oh, well, I think it's time for me to go back, because by now I will do 24 kilometers instead of 22, which is fine. And spoiler alert, I've actually ended up running for 15 miles at the end. But for me, what was interesting and fascinating is that the first half of the long run, I was so immersed in the podcast, I didn't even realize almost that I was running. I was cruising, as it says, and it was such a nice feeling because I was enjoying every second of the run. Because I wasn't thinking about the run itself, I was thinking about the scenery, I was thinking about the podcast, I was thinking about exploring a new path, because obviously longer run meant running into unknown territory. I was enjoying every single second of the run. Then I turned back, and bear in mind that last week in London was heat wave, so even on a Saturday it was very, very hot. But I think because I ran the whole week in such warmer temperature, my body adapted to the new environment, so I was less fatigued, which is great. On the way back, there was a moment when I start to feel a bit the fatigue in my leg, but it's fine because the week before, actually, I start to feel the fatigue in my leg, and I start to almost losing the momentum at the kilometers number 8 or almost 9. This time I did 12 kilometers straight and another 2 or 3 without feeling too much of tiredness, let's say a couple, until kilometers 14 maybe. Then I start to feel a bit of tiredness in my leg, which is fine. I mean, if I compare to the previous week, I was happy, and that's what I was trying to focus on. I wasn't focusing on, oh God, I'm going slower now, I ruin my pace. I was just focusing on, okay, how can I optimize my movement, my speed, so I can keep my energy going for longer. And then something happened, and I was running and I twisted my ankle. Nothing too serious. Thank God there was a lamp pole, and I grabbed it. I have to say, great reflex from my side, because otherwise I would have fallen on the floor, and I didn't fall. The problem is that ankle is an ankle that I twisted years and years ago, and is now my weak point. Every time I run, if I haven't warmed up properly or if I'm tired, this is the place where I feel pain. So what that trigger was almost avalanche effect, where I was tired, I twist my ankle, I start to feel a bit pain, my brain went into panic mode. What I then have to battle until the end of my run was try to not have the panic mode overcome my actual run form and my speed, but it hasn't been easy. But long story short, since that moment onwards, I tried to balance walk and run, and I tried to not feel upset because I was walking, because I thought you could rather run and exhaust yourself in 5 minutes or try to maintain the mix between run and walk until the end, and this is how it went. So at the end of the run, I did more than 24 kilometers. My pace was much better than the previous week, so super happy. I was shattered, I was tired, but I was happy because I finished the run, and I didn't want to focus too much on everything else, all the noises. So this for me was a turning point, because first of all, I've learned and I realized that my body is actually ready. That yes, I did only 24 kilometers, is half of the marathon, but I managed to do the first half without even realizing it, which was a completely different feeling from the previous week. And it's not that this week I had rest, actually the workload has increased. So despite my leg being tired, despite me being tired with poor sleep because of the heat wave and everything, I was actually able to arrive at the end. And what's more important is that I wasn't be too severe or too judgmental with myself. So that's perfect. Yesterday was the first day of the new week, and I had in my training plan a 45 minutes tempo run. The structure was 12 minutes warm up, and then tempo rounds was I think 9 minutes, then 7, then 5, then 3, with 3 minutes at easy pace between each intervals. fair to say that I did a long run on Saturday. On a Saturday night, I was so tired that I felt I had a high temperature. That's how I was tired, how much tired I was. Sunday, I had kind of rest, but I still went out at work, so it wasn't like me lying in bed all day. So on a Monday morning at 6:30 in the morning when I woke up, I say to myself, I'm not ready to run. My legs were hurting, were screaming, they were tired. So I seriously thought, you know what, I should run tonight. But then something came to my mind. There was a few days ago when I saw online there was a post or something that was saying, I don't remember the exact wording, but basically it was saying that motivation is not necessarily discipline and vice versa. And they both lead to potentially different things. And I can't remember right now exactly how it was written, but basically what was intending to mean was almost that, yes, you can have as much motivation as you want, but at the end of the day, you need to have discipline, because that's what will allow you to conquer rather than motivation. So on Monday, when I was about to go back and have my breakfast and don't go out for a run, that came to my mind. It's like, well, right now my motivation is low. I'm tired, my body is tired. Should I wait for tonight? But then the discipline voice kicked in and said to me, well, if you're tired now, nothing is going to change tonight. Actually, historically, you're more tired in the evening than in the morning. So go out and do it. There's no excuse. And that's what I did. So I went out, I started running, and dear, my leg, 2 pieces of cement. My ankle was in pain. I was like, I can't do that. I cannot. But again, I tried to be disciplined. So I start to say to myself, stop thinking about the fact that you are tired. Nobody ever died because of a run. This run has been designed to be done now because you need to learn to run on tired leg. So there's no point of your leg being not tired. Shut up. And I start warming up, and the more I warm up, the more my leg felt better. Now, when was the moment of doing the tempo intervals, the very beginning, my brain kicked in, because I start to feel a bit of pain on my ankle, and pretty much there was more like the fear of my brain say, like, if you start to go fast, you may twist your leg again, you can injure yourself. So there was literally and physically the muscle of my legs that they were getting stiff and tired. And this is a physiological thing as far as I understand. The more your muscle are tense, the worse it is when it comes to impact absorption. So in that moment, I literally use the voice in my head to shut down my mind and say, stop it, you need to relax, breathe. I start to mentally breathe, same as I do when I do meditation. And out of the sudden, my brain got quiet, all the pain disappeared, my legs start running, and that was a very pleasant run. Despite being a tempo run, despite being tired, I felt light. I felt that I was flying. And that actually taught me that how important your brain is. your body can scream, can be tired, but actually what the brain is telling your body is super important. Now, I wish, and you never know, that this is how I'm going to react from now on. I'm a human being, so I already know that potentially there will be other moments when I'm actually will be listening to the voice in my head that say, stop, don't do it, or enter into panic mode. But I also know that this is an experience that will stay with me, and I can go back and resume when and if I need it, when I'm struggling the most. This is something, even right now, I just came from a run. I did a run on a treadmill since I was in the hotel. And there was a moment that I was challenging. It was challenging and I wanted to give up. But then I said to myself, yes, your legs are burning, your lungs are burning, but this is just your body. You can carry on. And I did it, not for such a longer time, but I didn't quit and I carry on. I think this is one of the most important muscles that I need to exercise more and more, because on the day of the marathon, the half marathon, in any race, it's you, yourself and your brain, and you need to win the battle against yourself. So that was just a quick update from me. Just wanted to share with you what I've learned this week. Every week I feel that I'm learning something new. Every week there's a new discovery. And it's difficult sometimes to record absolutely everything that I've learned. I mean, record in my mind, in my brain. And I think doing these videos also helps me to reflect on what I've learned, what I've achieved, and maybe go back and look at week number 1, how far I came, and almost realize how much I've learned as well. That's all for now, and I'll see you next time.